China has boosted its direct investment in Africa by more than 25% per year since 2000. China was the greatest investor in Africa between 2017 and 2020. During this time, 20% of Africa's cash came from China. However, keep in mind that due to the historical linkages between Africa and China, the latter still trails behind Europe and the USA in terms of overall FDI stock over time. Welcome back to our channel. Today we're diving into a question that has sparked the curiosity of many. Why is China investing so much in Africa? If you are new here, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more of these contents. Over the past few decades, China's presence in Africa has grown significantly with massive investments in infrastructure, trade, and various industries. So what's driving China's interest in the African continent? Let's find out. According to the EY Attractiveness Report, China's foreign direct investment in Africa between 2016 and 2020 was about $70.6 billion compared to the United Arab Emirates of about $23.8 billion, the United States of about $23.7 billion, France of about $19.5 billion, and the United Kingdom of about $16.3 billion. These figures represent the ranking of the top 5 countries in terms of foreign direct investment in Africa. According to the Chinese Ministry of Commerce, 70% of the overall value of Chinese FDI and 90% of all Chinese enterprises investing in Africa are private Chinese companies. There were 1,955 Chinese businesses operating on the continent by the end of 2010, including more than 100 state-owned enterprises. Without a doubt, Chinese state-owned businesses continue to dominate the energy, transportation, and resource sectors due to the strategic nature and long-term returns of their investments. They are still the top investors in Africa by value. For instance, since 2010, state-owned Chinese enterprises have funded and built 1/3 of Africa's energy infrastructure. Through the state-owned enterprises and state-owned banks, China is the largest foreign donor to Africa's energy development. We're going to highlight 5 specific reasons China is investing hugely in Africa. 1. China is no longer the labor hub. China is rapidly growing older. By 2025, China will have a significantly older population with a median age of 51 by 2050. It is anticipated to be 43 in the US and 47 in the EU for comparison. China will rank among the oldest nations in the world by 2060, when 1/3 of its population would be older than 65. All of this indicates that China will age before becoming wealthy. When the elderly population, thus those 60 and older, reached 12.6% in the US, Japan, and South Korea, their average GDP per capita was $24,000. China's GDP per capita at the same level of aging was $10,000. Africa's labor force is anticipated to outnumber China and India put together by 2034. Africa is predicted to have about 2.5 billion people by 2050 compared to China's population drop to less than 1 billion. With these numbers in mind, China's labor-intensive factories are currently looking for Africa's young labor force. 2. China's cost competitiveness has diminished. In 2022, China's per capita GDP reached $12,800, firmly placing the nation in the upper rank of high-middle-income nations and wavering on the high-income country zone. The labor cost efficiency required for moderate to low-end global supply chains is therefore no longer present. The GDP per capita in sub-Saharan Africa, in contrast, was $2,500 in 2022. Due to this, Chinese businesses are actively integrating global outputs in populous areas that are comparable to China in terms of size and capacity, particularly in the Association of Southeast Asian Nations Economic Union and to a greater extent in Africa. Using 60% African labor, the Chinese industrial equipment giant Sany Group localized its manufacturing on the continent. It presently operates 12,000 heavy excavators there and has partnered with the Kenyan government to build 35,000 homes there in 2019. Producing in Africa for Africa is significantly more tempting for the corporation given China's comparatively expensive labor and logistic costs. 3. China has transitioned from being a predominantly agrarian economy to becoming the largest importer of agricultural products globally. Food inflation remained consistently in the double digits for the majority of 2020, with Chinese pork inflation reaching 112% between 2019 and 2020. In addition, as a result of China's growing urbanization, much fertile soil has been lost and the farming population has been drawn away from the rural areas in favor of city life, abandoning their land for salaries. China's structural agricultural inadequacy is not only a possible social destabilizer but also a national security danger, as the country's middle class is projected to grow from 400 million to 800 million by 2030. China imports a variety of agricultural goods from Africa, including red wine and wheat. China is progressively diversifying its agri-imports from the US to other economies as geopolitical tensions between the US and China rise. Both commercial and strategic goals are served by China's investment in agri-tech in Africa and commerce in agricultural products between China and Africa. 4. As China transforms from being the global manufacturing hub to becoming a major consumer market, Africa can increase its exports to China by investing in upstream production. In the 2000s, China's trade with Africa has experienced a 20-fold increase, surpassing $200 billion in 2019. Similarly, China's foreign direct investment in Africa has multiplied by 100, reaching $49.1 billion in 2019. By the end of 2019, China's foreign direct stock in Africa had reached $110 billion, contributing to more than 20% of Africa's economic growth. Chinese investments have played a significant role in expanding African supply to meet the growing demands of the middle class. 5. Africa's consumer market is experiencing rapid growth. Africa boasts a middle-class population of 350 million, comparable to China's 400 million. Additionally, Africa's urbanization rate stood 44% in 2021, while China's urbanization rate is approximately 55%. The growing middle class in Africa exhibits similar consumer aspirations as those in their home countries, driving increased demand for smart city infrastructure, energy solutions, consumer goods, education, entertainment, finance, and healthcare. Recognizing these opportunities, innovative Chinese private companies are expanding their presence in these sectors, exporting China's business models, intellectual property, and technology platforms tailored for emerging markets. Treating Africa as a cohesive and seamlessly integrated economic entity akin to China would be a misconception. Africa is not a singular market, but efforts should be made toward its unification. Africa's economy faces inherent challenges due to barriers to trade within the continent, hindering the smooth flow of business, information, and logistics between countries. Achieving economies of scale, standardizing legal systems, and establishing a unified market would make Africa more attractive for foreign direct investment. Thank you for watching and see you in the next one.